Yo, what's going on everybody? It's Six Paths Dunga coming to you again with yet another reaction video. So I seen this video and it caught my eye because this is actually something I planned on talking about as it pertains to chapter 29. As you guys know, every single month when the new chapter comes out, I go on live and I read the whole chapter with you guys, spoilers and everything. Nowadays, I really don't tend to leave it up because of, copyright, but just for like my subscribers that are up and, with me that want to see me live stream, I do live stream it. And then I drop the review later. But most of the review is what I basically said during that live stream. So if you watch the review, you kind of get a summarized version of what I said in that stream. And something I noted in that stream that I probably didn't go over as much in my review is Kashin Koji at the end of chapter 29. Because something that Koji did at the end of that chapter kind of insinuated that something big is about to happen in the story. What exactly is that? We have to find out what that is. It could be a plethora of things. But I do have some ideas that could manifest into reality. You just gotta see. So of course, before we get into this reaction, we do it with everybody that I react to. Gotta shout them out and show them love for the video. So, Naruto Explained. I'm pretty sure you guys all know who he is. One of the top Naruto and Boruto creators out there, and I do rock with him and his content. He's also shouted us out on multiple occasions, so shout out to him as well. He's aware that we're tuned into the videos that we're reacting. He knows who we are. So yeah, shout out to him. But anyway, I'm gonna leave the link to his channel down below in the description. So make sure you guys go, show some love to his video, leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And also make sure you guys like and hype the video. As you know, we are experimenting with that new feature on YouTube that lets you hype the video. I think it's only on mobile, but excuse me if I'm wrong. But that feature helps out our videos a lot in the YouTube algorithm. So, every hype helps. But anyway, without further ado, let's hop into it.
The timeline is breaking again. Kashin Koji's worried, and that alone should terrify everybody because this isn't panic, this isn't fear, this is something far more worse. This is uncertainty from a man who can see multiple possible future timelines. In Boruto TBV Vortex chapter 29, the story is quietly telling us that something massive has changed, not through exposition, not through flashy battle panels, but through a single chilling narrative voice. The narrator itself has warned us that Kashin Koji is uneasy. This is a big deal. This is an impartial observer.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I will put the panel here in case you guys don't know what he's talking about because I do have access to the full colored version. But look right here, this panel where Inojin was like, yeah, let's go, we're winning. And then Kashin Koji just sitting there like, he doesn't look too happy. Now, Koji's usually not that happy anyway, but this time the narrator made sure that we know he is uneasy about something. Now, what is it that he's uneasy about? I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody can guess it has something to do with the timeline itself. So something that's happened in this chapter is likely to be the cause of his uneasiness. Now, what exactly could that be? Is there anything in this chapter that could insinuate that the timeline has changed? I don't know. But just paying attention to the last couple of chapters, what is the one thing that they want to avoid? One, they want to avoid Himawari's death, and two, they want to avoid Ada's death. And we also have to remember, even though Kashin Koji has prescience, which allows him to see into the future, all possible futures at that, he can still be wrong on some things. Like Koji in the past has been proven to be wrong about certain prophecies or facts about the future. And he's also been wrong on how to go about changing the future. And I know I like to bring this up a lot, but I mean, it's the perfect example. When Boruto went to Sunagakure to save Konohamaru, Kashin Koji told him not to do it. But if he didn't go, Konohamaru would die. It's the fact that Boruto did go which saved his life. I mean, of course Koji was afraid that Jura would come and, kill him, and rightfully so, he was about to, until Kawaki came in the picture. So that just proves it right there. There is some things that Boruto can do, or not only Boruto, but other people could do, because I don't want to just single it out with Boruto. Other people can do the same thing. If you give the same opportunity that Kashin Koji has to another person, they could possibly make better judgments than him. So I'm saying it's not out of the question. So then I say that to say, whatever Koji planned how this operation would go, it could be the wrong judgment. Something that happened in this operation he could have overlooked, which could lead to more problems. So like I said, I think that he's either worried about Himawari or Ada's life. Inojin said that there was at least 50 clones in the village. And I remember Kashin Koji said to keep them in between 20 to 30 bodies. So already they're above the recommended amount of clones. And it's not like 5 more, 7 more, no, 20 more clones than Koji recommended. They are not going to be keeping up with all of them. And as they spread across Konoha, they're also gathering information. They're all the same body, they're all Mamushi. They're all gathering information on where Ada is at. So the more clones, the faster they'll find her. So that could be a problem right there. And if they come face to face with Ada, then that could mean trouble. Because so far, we've seen a lot of characters like Boruto and Kawaki just destroy the Mamushi clones. I even said, you know what? Mamushi is trash. Like, he's getting destroyed by them, like, but then I started to realize Mamushi is not even worried about them. His only goal is to find Ada and that's it. So if you really look at the fighting, they're fighting more so to get them out of the way, not to defeat them. And also at the time when Boruto was fighting Mamushi, there was already over 15 clones in the village, at least. Now you can highball that and say, you know, around like 20 to 30 or lowball it and say around 10, but we don't really know how much it was. But around that time, when Boruto was just destroying those clones with a Rasengan, massive Rasengan, there had to be at least 15 there. So his IQ is considerably lower than average for him. And you know, the lower IQ, the easier it is to defeat them. It's like just fighting a wild animal. And let me make this clear for anybody that's like confused. As soon as Mamushi finds Ada, there is no need for any clones anymore. As soon as he finds Ada, he will discard all of his clones and gain all of his IQ back. What he's doing right now is simply a diversion. As soon as he finds Ada, that's it. All the clones go bye-bye. He gets all his intelligence back, and then he's at full power, his full capability again. So I think something like that Koji could be worried about. If there's 50 clones just running around Konoha, they're gonna find her eventually. And once he does, we're gonna see the full power of Mamushi. And you could say his full power is pretty scary, just based off the fact of how Koji is reacting to everything.
Before we break down what happened and what changed, and we all go into the lab and cook up different scenarios, it's very important and critical to understand how Kashin Koji's foresight, his Doctor Strange vision, actually works. So 10 Directions does not show infinite futures per se. It shows a dominant causal flow, a primary timeline created by different choices and probabilities and inevitability. He gets to see where these branches go, but he doesn't see every twist and turn. Depending on what happens, what choices get made, new branches are made. Kashin Koji isn't omniscient in that way. He's a strategist who is navigating branches. He is basically somebody who knows multiple questions on multiple tests and knows all the different answers that can be chosen. He identifies the timeline that has the highest survival probability, and he takes all the information he has in order to actively manipulate the events to keep reality locked onto that rail.
Exactly. So it's like one of those futures that Koji does not like has a higher probability of happening based on events that happen in that chapter. So like it could be something that Boruto did. It could be something regarding Momoshiki, because as we remember, in the last few chapters, there was a scene where Kashin Koji spoke to Boruto about the deal he made with Momoshiki. And you could see Boruto didn't respond in a way that he liked. It's almost as if Boruto was trying to keep a secret. So the secret could be something that happened within that deal, or something that Boruto told Momoshiki, which got Kashin Koji on edge a little bit. So that kind of gives me the idea that maybe Koji doesn't know the exact details of the deal he made with Boruto. Does he know that he'll give up his body? Like, we don't know that. All we know is that Koji knows Boruto made some type of deal with Momoshiki. Boruto could have told him anything, right? But his body is another thing. And if you were to ask me right now, I don't think Koji would go along with that deal, right? Like, if Boruto just came up to Koji and said, you know what? I offered Momoshiki my body in exchange for power. I don't think Koji would go along with that. And I don't think it's because Koji necessarily cares about Boruto all that much. I mean, they don't have a relationship like Naruto and Jiraiya did, even though it kind of like mirrors that, you know, a clone of Jiraiya and Naruto's son. But in all reality, Koji's not the type of guy to really look at Boruto as like a son or a grandson like Jiraiya did Naruto. Their relationship is strictly conditional. They have a goal, and once that goal is met, they wouldn't really be keeping in touch like that, you know what I mean? So I'm not saying it's coming from a place of empathy. I'm saying it's coming from a place of strategy. Like, we all know it's not wise for Boruto to give Momoshiki his body. Koji knows that as well because of his goal. I mean, his goal prior to Ishiki's death was to kill Ishiki. I mean, come on, him and Amato, they deal with Otsutsuki. They know what it is, so it's like, that's not something that he would go along with. Even though it could end up helping the future at the end, it's not something I see Kashin Koji willingly accepting. So that's also another possibility. Other than it being like Ada or Himawari, it could be the fact that Boruto has taken this power from Momoshiki and made it his own. And just off that fact alone, Koji is worried about something that could happen in the future. Now, it could be related to this mission, it could not. But whatever it is, it's something that happened in this chapter. And so far, it's looking like those two are the most likely. Ada and Himawari, or the Boruto and Momoshiki situation. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section.
In the timeline they're trying to prevent from happening now, Himawari and Ada both die. So Kashin Koji's plan, it isn't just about winning, it's also about avoiding a global level extinction. There have been many times where timelines have shifted, a notable one being Boruto and Kawaki. The first time that Boruto disrupted Kashin Koji's vision wasn't in chapter 29, it happened earlier. Back in chapter 15, when Boruto told Kawaki to remove his limiters, that moment matters more than fans initially realized. And
I tell you that all the time too.
Kashin Koji's original timeline, Kawaki's power escalation, it happened later. Amato's upgrades were delayed. Kawaki's ascension was slower, but Boruto interfered. He basically said, hey fam, you're gonna figure this out anyway, shouldn't change anything, go right ahead. Since then, we've seen Boruto take that same approach at Sumire. Hey, you would have figured this out anyway. Take this scroll, upgrade my sword. Boruto did not tell Kashin Koji all the events that transpired when he made the deal with Momoshiki.
So, I mean, he pretty much just said it himself. Boruto has been, I don't want to say sabotaging, but he's been working behind Koji's back to sway the future in his eyes, how he sees fit. And in the past, we've seen him do it multiple times. Like he brought up the mission in Tsunagakure, boom. And then Sumire, like all of those actions are attempts to change the future. And that also proves that Boruto doesn't tell Kashin Koji everything he does. He doesn't just simply sit back and obey Koji, follow his every order. No, he's like a rebellious teenager. That's exactly what he is. I mean, verbatim, that's exactly what Boruto is, a rebellious teenager. That's how he acts. Kids that act like that, they don't necessarily tell their parents everything they do. They go behind their back, they sneak out, they do things that they know they're not supposed to be doing, but they just do it anyway. And I guess it's not far-fetched to say that Boruto is doing something similar here, and he's been doing it. So who's to say that it didn't happen again? That's why Koji is so like distraught, because he knows something is wrong. He's seen Boruto do something that can affect the future in a certain way. And I didn't even mention this, but it doesn't necessarily even have to be Boruto. Now I'm adding another one on. So it could be something like, let's say Code, for example. We know Code is always in the shadows lurking. Even though, I mean, he can't necessarily just come out and be like, hey, fight me, because he's gonna get his wig split. But we know he's in the shadows doing something, preparing something. He has a plan on how he's gonna kill Boruto or Kashin Koji to get the chakra fruit from Jura. Like, you remember that deal back in chapter 15? Yeah, that's still happening. And there is some things that Code can do to disrupt the overall flow of this operation. So now it's getting to the point where, like, okay, I mentioned Code, Boruto, the future with Ada and Himawari. What else can I mention that could be a possibility as to why Koji is acting like this? So now I'm really like thinking, right? We look back at the interrogation between Mitsuki and Kobu, and I think for a second, the sensory team contacted Sai and told him that Boruto was in the village. And then we go back to like chapter 28, where Shikamaru said that there could be an attempt to stop Boruto in the village, which means other Konoha Jonin going after Boruto in order to pursue him. Even something like that, Koji could be worried about, because it disrupts the overall flow of the operation. And any disruption can sway the future into a more, let's say, unsuccessful timeline. So like, it's all percentages. If someone tries to disrupt Boruto from doing something, it could cause the future where Ada and Himawari dies to have a higher percentage of happening. So like I said, it's all numbers. It's all a numbers game. And we gotta really figure out what he's worried about to really go off of like what could possibly happen in the future. But those are just my initial thoughts as of now.
10 Directions does not update instantly. It updates after the casualty has locked in. And that brings us to chapter 29.
I thought it was
Boruto's deal with
random.
Momoshiki is a potential break.
Or like after a
That's
few
a real
days.
problem. Boruto's now using Momoshiki's power freely. Not through possession, not through hijacking, through a deal. Kashin Koji told Boruto, go make a deal with Momoshiki. But he is not telling Kashin Koji what it was that he offered.
Yeah.
The fact that Koji asked for verification
Literally.
and Boruto refused to say it means that Boruto went further than he should have. The deal that Boruto made was not something that Koji instructed him to make with those specifics. It really feels like there was supposed to be a limited concession, a controlled risk, if you will. But Boruto didn't just bargain. He basically rewrote the rules. Momoshiki is now cooperating in a way that breaks precedent. Not through backlash, not through resistance, not through immediate consequence. This means this agreement potentially is outside of Kashin Koji's predictions. And when something exists outside of 10 Directions, it creates a brand new branch. And that is why if you read chapter 29 and felt that Mamushi was going down too easily, that was the red flag that everyone should have noticed.
Yep. And that's exactly why I said something is not right here. The fact that everything seems to be going so smoothly, everybody seems to be winning their fights, is just too suspicious. Something is definitely going on in the shadows. And the constant disinterest Mamushi has in everybody is trying to tell us something. He's up to something bigger, and we already know what it is, but we don't know how he's gonna achieve it. He's still looking for Ada, right? Because I mean, I would have called it a day. I would have said, you know what, Mamushi's trash, and it's just that. But let's be honest, that's always what the author wants you to think. And Ikimoto does it a lot. He makes you think something going one way, and then he just flips the narrative on his back. So right now, I don't believe that Mamushi is losing the fight. I believe there's something that everybody is overlooking, but Kashin Koji.
Himawari and Team 10, they took down one. They were able to incapacitate one, and that should scare you. Because Boruto doesn't resolve existential threats easily. There's usually some level of struggle that goes in. The manga even tells us that something's wrong, not through dialogue, but through narration. The story tells us itself through the narrator. Kashin Koji is worried. That's not a coincidence. That is an author sounding an alarm for you. Because when outcomes arrive too smoothly, it usually means that the real danger has not arrived yet.
Yes,
or
that's
the
crazy.
timeline
I just
is
said that
shifting
too.
into uncharted territory and people don't fully realize it. Inojin's celebrating, Koji is worried. I do believe we probably should have seen more struggle even with Boruto and Kawaki, just based on how Koji reacted. This means that Koji might be positioning himself in a place where he might not be able to see every small detail of what's supposed to happen. And that brings me to a few possible scenarios. We'll call this timeline change number 1. The Mamushi party begins to collapse. So in the first possible altered timeline that we could have here, Kashin Koji's plan to eliminate Mamushi, it begins to fracture. Not fail immediately, but instead get to a point where it is destabilizing. Why, you might ask? Because of Boruto's deal with Momoshiki, it might have created new reactive variables. New enemies detecting Boruto's chakra signature and acting in a different way. New patterns with the Shinju. Potentially, Mamushi acting in a way differently than predicted. Kashin Koji's failed timeline, and the one that he's trying to prevent from happening, Mamushi was able to kill Himawari and devour Ada and kill Ada. Koji engineered this current situation we have specifically to avoid that from happening, but now Boruto, with the terms of this new agreement with Momoshiki, he might have potentially introduced a higher threat visibility, greater attention, potential chain reactions that we don't see the fallout for just yet. This means that Koji may now be looking at a restructured failure path, one where Mamushi might end up making a worse outcome than what Koji originally saw. And that brings me to timeline potential number 2, which is Shikamaru's fall as Hokage. So this is the most...
Forgot about that. Now, that is something to be worried about. And I'm not going to harp on it crazy or anything, But yes, Lord Kobu is looking for Shikamaru right at this moment. He wants to see him. And Shikamaru is in the middle of one of the most important operations in the history of Konoha. And he's a crucial piece in this operation. So if he just ups and goes to get interrogated, then something is wrong here. And you know who you could thank for that? You could thank Konohamaru. Yep, he did it. So that's something else we can add to the picture. Shikamaru getting interrogated and potentially him losing his job as Hokage. Shikamaru is to act as that middleman between Koji and Konoha. Every message that Koji has for Konoha, it goes through Shikamaru. And without Shikamaru there, Inojin's new jutsu, mind transmission formation, I don't think it could work properly, which means no callouts, or if no callouts, very limited callouts. And overall, you just can't keep track of all the Mamushis around Konoha. And mind you, I said that there was around 50 of them in the village right now. So without Shikamaru, I'm telling you, something is gonna go wrong in this mission. So I mean, to be fair, there's a lot of things that Koji should be worried about. Yes, not just one. But obviously there is one specifically that he's worried about, something that is definitely a cause for concern above all the rest. I mean, they're all a cause for concern, but one of them is going to be crucial. So that's another one we can add. I mean, we got a lot of them now. We got Himawari and Ada's future, we have Code, we have Boruto and Momoshiki's deal, we even have Konoha Joni trying to fight Boruto and kill him, and then we have what he just mentioned, Shikamaru getting fired from being Hokage. But, you know, besides that, there's probably more that we forgot to mention or he didn't mention yet, which can be a potential candidate for what's wrong with Koji.
Kashin Koji has been actively trying to keep Shikamaru in power. Why? Because Shikamaru represents stability, delay, time. He slows escalation. He is a powerful ally to help Boruto and Kashin Koji. But Boruto's actions, combined with Kawaki's accelerated growth power, may force Shikamaru into an impossible situation. You have Kawaki stockpiling power, getting more and more unchecked, asking for updates after every battle. Amato, by extension, is improving ninja tech. Boruto is now wielding Momoshiki's power. This might lead to other threats emerging, all while Shikamaru has to deal with someone like Kobu trying to oust him. At some point, someone's going to ask, how can you have stopped this? How did this happen underneath your nose? Shikamaru might end up becoming the scapegoat when, say in football, when a team wins, the quarterback gets all the credit. When a team loses, the credit doesn't go to the other coordinator. All the blame goes on the quarterback for right or for wrong. It's the same thing when you're in a leadership position. In this case, Shikamaru's Hokage.
So basically what he's saying is like, everything that's going on in Konoha right now, they could just blame Shikamaru for it. Especially if there's casualties and stuff like that. I mean, there's been multiple cases where Jura has been spotted in Konoha, but he's repeatedly told the police force not to do anything about it. I mean, for those things he's gonna have to answer for when he's being interrogated or whatever else. And all that could add up to him being fired from his position as Hokage. So rightfully so, without Shikamaru as Hokage, I'm just gonna say it, everybody's cooked. And if everybody is not cooked, it just gets considerably harder to deal with the Shinju. So him being a Hokage, that's a must. You can't negotiate that.
If Shikamaru is forced to step down, a harder line Hokage may take over. Boruto is already a direct target, but this could make it even worse. Koji now loses a stabilizing node in the timeline. That is a catastrophic deviation, one that Kashin Koji was specifically trying to avoid. Then you got timeline change potential number 3, which is probably the scariest one. Instead of a Mamushi party, we find out that there are some Jura files that are about to be released.
The Jura
That's the
files.
most dangerous possibility.
That's
in
crazy.
Koji's known timeline, Jura never got involved. As long as the battle stayed in Konoha, Jura was not going to get involved. His presence was basically delayed. But Boruto's actions, they may have accelerated a threat and made it converge. Boruto using Momoshiki's power out there in the open under these terms, it is not something subtle. Kawaki's enhancements that he's gotten, it is not something subtle. Mamushi being neutralized early, it is not something narratively subtle. These events, they create pressure waves. And Jura, he's not passive. Jura, if he enters this conflict right now, that power gap explodes. The battlefield changes entirely. Koji has now lost all control if that happens. That would explain Koji's fear more than anything else, because
Yeah,
Jura's
exactly.
involvement means the timeline is no longer salvageable through manipulation alone. And that now brings me to why Kashin Koji might currently be seeing a brand new 10 Directions update.
Yeah, that's actually crazy. I didn't think about that. Jura is a possibility. And I think it's more like him just finding Boruto fascinating now. Like he's using Momoshiki's power and everything, and Jura is able to see through the eyes of the Shinju. So I think he's seeing everything that Mamushi is seeing. Like, I'm pretty sure he is. And if he is watching, then he's seeing everything that's happening. So I mean, yeah, it could definitely be him just taking more interest in Boruto. Or it doesn't even have to be Boruto, but it could be Momoshiki. So anyway, I think that's going to be it for the video today. I pretty much went over all my thoughts on what I think it could be. I mean, there is definitely some others that could be a thing, and that's for you guys to leave down below in the comment section. Let me know why you think Koji is upset, or kind of insinuates that there's something bigger going on in this whole operation. Now, of course, shout out to Naruto Explain for the great video. Really good video, very insightful, and I'm surprised we have a lot of like similar ideas and stuff going on. So I'll say this, whatever Kashin Koji's worried about, it either have to do with a few things. Boruto, Shikamaru, or Mamushi finding Ada. Those three things are my possibilities. Those are the choices I'm going with. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. But anyway, I think I'm gonna get out of here now. As always, if you guys like the video and want to see more like this in the near future, go ahead and like the video, comment, subscribe, and turn on those post notifications so you know whenever I upload or go live for chapter spoilers. And until my next one, I'll see you boys and girls later. And I'm out. Peace.